think a big part of what young adults face as far as relationships is related to the LGBT community. And I think, you know, that societal norm of marrying someone of the opposite sex, having a child, working for 25 years, retiring, is just thrown out the window for our generation now. It's like, okay, what do we actually want? So I'm seeing a lot of younger adults, coming in and just starting to experiment with maybe their sexuality or their gender identity, starting to realize that like maybe that norm isn't really what fits their lifestyle or what they're comfortable with. And then I also see people who have known that they're part of the LGBT community since they were kids or whatever, but they're still kind of feeling that pressure and that uncomfortability of trying to fit in that norm regardless. So just again, like having that safe space for someone to kind of experiment with those thoughts and with those feelings. And, you know, we are really trying to kind of break out of that societal norm, whether it is with our gender identity or our sexual orientation or whatever it is. I think LGBT individuals face that on a bigger scale because that norm is like the societal norm is completely off the table at this point. It's just kind of not something that we can see ourselves like doing going forward. So I think they probably have a lot more pressure just internally of trying to fit into that norm. And that's why I'm here to kind of like release that pressure a bit and see if we can make what feels right for them feel comfortable. I'm sure there's a lot more challenges faced for a lot of different reasons, whether it's discrimination, pressure from parents, maybe having people cut you out for like homophobia, whatever it is. There's a lot of challenges, like issues with relationships, issues with, friends who you thought were friends who then kind of shut you out after they find out that you might be gay. Whatever it is, there's a lot of challenges that you could face, and all of those things affect your mental health. I think a big part of it is identity and feeling like the pressure to conform. And we all feel that pressure to conform, and none of us can because none of us are the same. Everybody's different. But when it comes to the LGBT community, it's almost like that their version of different hasn't really been accepted as much as someone else's version of different. So there's that pressure to conform, but there's also that like inability to conform. Like you just can't. It's just not possible. It's not going to happen. So you're stuck in this place where you're not fitting in with the norm and you're not really sure how to kind of allow yourself to go outside of the norm because it's not really accepted by society. And I think all that just kind of leads to a lot of confusion, anxiety, depression, identity issues. People talk about being confused when they talk about sexuality, and it's true. It's just like, okay, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on in my head. There's a lot of stuff going on. And until you figure that out, until you're able to accept it within yourself, it might not ever feel comfortable. And it might not even feel comfortable when you have accepted it because there might be people out there who still haven't. So it's always an uphill battle of trying to feel comfortable with yourself, but also those around you. And I think for that reason, there's never going to be a place where LGBT individuals can just be like, okay, I'm happy. My mom and dad and brothers and sisters and friends and family, everyone's happy for me. Like there's always going to be some resistance. So it's just a little bit harder for that reason.